Season finale. Sing it one more time, Mayhem.
Season 3 finale. This has been emotional. This one has been a lot of ups and downs, culminating in a lot of ups. Forgetting the Euros, they don't count. Fuck out. But we are a week away from the return of club football, 2 weeks away from the return of yours. So time to sign off, put this season to bed, recap, relive, and then we go again for a new season. We'll play the intro.
Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Big Podcast, episode 30, season 3 finale. My name is Fennan. John alongside me, a man who opened up with a very emotional monologue there. Definitely brought a tear to my eye. But here he is, the main man himself, Mayhem. How are you doing, my friend?
Mate, I'm good. It's a little bit strange to think that we are nearly getting into season 4 of this when it started just in my son's room on a Discord call with a headphone in as episode 1, season 1, but it's grown a little bit. Yes, I love it, mate. I would do it if I don't know how many views we get, but we don't get many. But I would do it even if it was just us. So yeah, looking forward to season 4. Hopefully a lot less grueling year. Hopefully for both of us, it's
absolutely
one that's filled with more ups.
No, 100%. And like you said, it still feels quite surreal that when we first started, I was sat alongside Gondor, who obviously took a step back a few episodes into season 1, so it was kind of just having like a carton of milk next to me and had to throw it out past a sell-by date. I'm joking.
Yeah, but we've evolved.
We have.
We tried to but obviously tried to have that third voice a lot of the time. Sometimes it was Cam, sometimes it was Sam. You've had some of your pals on as well, and Kian, obviously the City fan. But I think we found our groove. If anyone, and if someone wanted to come on, then I think more so now it would be like on a like a one-off weekly basis where we would inject someone. We found our groove, we found our consistency.
Yeah.
To be fair to Cam, he was pretty consistent, but then he just can't be asked to fix his computer. So
I know, and he, you know what? And again, he was that individual who could break the fourth wall. Of course, it will cause for a lot of cutting from the recordings, by all means. But it feels like you said, we found our groove, we found our mojo. But then, of course, we needed Cam there just to sort of.
Just to give you a bit of work to do in the editing.
Yeah, just to be a dick, really. But
yeah, I mean, there's probably a whole other realm where we could set up. If we grew a little bit and set up like a Patreon, or how all those big guys do, and and then an unedited version, but we'd probably get cancelled pretty quickly with some of the stuff he comes out.
Oh, 100%. Jesus Christ! What? Cam taking the railway tracks off? No way. Jose, absolutely not. That guy would get blacklisted from the internet. Full stop.
Just wouldn't be allowed into America. No, that's it.
No, I do miss Cam being that third person, and it's a shame that he just doesn't have that motivation to go out and get his computer fixed, because I really thought he was definitely a wild card for us, and in terms of even his footballing opinions as well.
Such an uplifting, positive demeanour that he brought. I mean, I'm trying to think back, but rarely do I think that he ever had a good word to say, whether it be about the teams that he supports in Tottenham or Celtic, or any other team. His opinion is really very much now the shit.
Yeah, he was. Well, but then again, I know that we've spoken about Cam Cam's footballing opinion on multiple occasions, and you've always said that, you know, when it comes to Celtic, Cam has been brought up in that generation where Celtic were winning everything, and when it did come down to, you know, the rough times, and it really did enhance that negativity towards football in general, never mind just Celtic, but of course being a Tottenham fan as well, kind of brings him back to earth. But overall, he is quite a negative Nancy.
He's 100%. He's grown up and he's been spoiled with success from a Celtic aspect, not a Tottenham aspect. He's been spoiled with success, and you know, born in '98, and really from there he's watched a majority of titles, you know, come back to us. I would imagine he would struggle to remember, you know, the last real title race, you know, barring last season, because you got to think when the nine. I mean, when he was watching 9 years of just dominance and trebles and double trebles and triple and treble trebles and quadruple treble, it was unprecedented. And to grow up with that and to have that, you know, really morph you, know, obviously when you're going through your late teens into your 20s, it really morphs, you know, that football ideology. And so I can understand the frustration. You know, he grows up hearing the tales of the Lisbon Lions, as all Celtic fans will. You know, those historic moments, and that's one building block. And then he has a building block of, you know, the UEFA Cup in 2003 and Henrik Larsson, and you know these big players that we had. You know, these characters of you know, going on further from that, then Artur Boric coming in, and this real presence, and you know, these players that could easily have gone and been successful down south, and then obviously, you know, they go into administration, and we lose them, and we don't develop and really push on the way that we should have. Because we should have become Bayern Munich at that point. You know, we should have been so far away.
The case as well, yeah. You know, because obviously having no longer having that rivalry there, that competition there, you really would have thought that Celtic really would have gone on, would have been the pioneers of Scottish football.
Yeah, instead we've gone and signed like Nadia Shifty and Gary Mackay-Stevens and all these other players, instead of going out and really, instead of just building, you know, which has ultimately allowed them to get back to a point where they can challenge. And really, I think we stand on that precipice again, and we're not learning from the same mistakes. You know, we nice way to segue into this season, but you know, with the money, we're as rich as we've ever been. Mm-hmm. You know, we've sold out all our season tickets again, which, you know, we've gone over again. It's about 30 million for the club. We're in the new format of this Champions League with the Jota money, you know, that's come in recent times, the Kieran Tierney money that's come in recent times. You know, the share price is up. Everything is there, right? Where they can't order the right steel, and we'll have to play home games at Hampden and go through qualifiers.
I almost forgot about that.
Looks like they're gonna play Dynamo Kiev, which is a nice towel, and you know, Dynamo Kiev can't play in their home stadium because Vladimir Putin stole it, and Rangers can't play in their home stadium because they didn't put in the right steel. So there's a wee bit of symmetry. But they're going through that and could quite conceivably end up in the Europa League. And we've got all this and all the bright lights and the shiny, flashy lights that go off and on the Champions League nights. But we're sitting here and we've signed Kasper Schmeichel, who you know, from the pre-season's games, looks like a real good bit of business. We've signed that Salsalio or whatever from Villa for £1 million. Yeah. There's still rumours about Adam Eder, but, you know, that doesn't appear to be, you know, sort of advancing as quickly as one Paulo Bernardo still hasn't been brought in, and that was meant to be a done deal. Happy days, get that over the line. We're back to being linked with Scott McKenna. We're back to being linked with that Hugo Bueno from Wolves, the left back.
Oh yeah.
On a loan deal, because apparently there's rumours that we wanted to sign a more experienced left back, because Anderson, the young fella, we think he's a real prospect, so we wanted to sign a more established left back. There's whispers of it being Kieran Tierney, but I don't know if, again, that's just what the heart wants. And obviously then his injury at the Euros has scarpered that transfer. And then we're linked with that James McTeer, the boy from City that was on loan.
James McAtee, yeah, he was on loan. Sheffield United, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sheffield, yeah. So, it just feels like, okay, if we were to get that Hugo Bueno, whatever, that's a loan deal. And from all the reports, I don't think Wolves want to sell him on a permanent. And if they did, it would be for a fairly sizable fee. So that's a one-season loan deal coming in. So that doesn't really fix us. And we're spending no money. We'll be paying some of the wages, but that James McAtee, again, it's a loan deal. Then Man City are not going to be letting him go.
No,
unless again it
Pep
was
rates him big time.
Unless it was for big money, because obviously we've seen him let Palmer go, but we're not going to be buying him. So that's going to be a 1 year loan deal, right? So then where the fuck's the money? We've spent £1 million. Right, if we've been linked with people like Chris Mepham from Bournemouth, Scott McKenna, whatever, the Paulo Bernardo, Adam Eder, these things should have just been done. There's still questions about the winger situation at the club. And Nicholas Kuhn obviously looked good against Man City in pre-season, but we've still got this imbalance on the left side. Is Palmer it? I don't think so. Are we actually going to go into the season where Mikey Johnson's getting a 9th chance because he scored a fucking goal against Chelsea? Is that seriously what we're doing here? Because he had a good fucking loan spell at West Brom. Drive the cunt to West Brom and knock on the door and ask if they want to buy him then. Like, how many chances can this guy... He must be some form of cat, because this cunt's got 9 lives. But I cannot believe that we're going into another season where he is potentially a part of our squad. It's ridiculous. All that aside, Hattati's being linked with a move to the Premier League. I think Leicester were looking at him. Southampton are looking at Matt O'Reilly.
I saw there was a third bid rejected
last
week for Atalanta. Again, 15 million. Was that only like 500k more than their second bid?
Get empty fuck, man. I get. In these things you try and haggle but get in the bin.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, you can't match our valuation. Just stop coming in with the lowball offers. Block their number, Celtic, and move on. We should have no further contact with them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that usually works on the video games, doesn't it? Like, we have closed off talks. Like, no.
Fuck you.
Better luck next year. But no, I understand your frustration in terms of the lack of investment, because it's just such a disregard as to how Celtic could really progress and take the next steps in being a team that could be completely revolutionary and that could really embed that Lisbon Lion feeling again, and going into Europe and being competitive. But it just, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but the board, for whatever reason,
fucking Peter Laurel. That's what goes on by. There's no Kasper Schmeichel. I can't imagine he's coming in and his wages are that much, if at all, in excess of Joe Hart. So you've lost Joe Hart's wages, and you've replaced Kasper. So there's no real change there. You've signed the youngster, that Cecilio from Aston Villa for £1 million. I very much doubt he's going to be on big wages as well, because he's clearly coming in as a cup goalkeeper and a backup. That's our number one. We've got rid of O, He's off the books. He went for whatever 3.4 million to the Belgian
Yeah,
side.
you got a good fee for him as well.
So, so he's in. You look back at January, and we're selling David Turnbull for 2 million to use. So all these little transfers, again, they add up. Sure, there's still players on the books that we would want rid of, like Kobe Ashley and stuff like that. I'm sure that we do want to get rid of. But we need, really, we're a week away. We're a week away from our domestic opener, and the only change outfield is going to be Casper Schmeichel. Liam Scales is going to start on Sunday. That's unforgivable. It is unforgivable. I don't care if Bournemouth will need £8 million for Chris Mepham, right? I don't care what your opinion is on Chris Mepham. What is an undeniable fact is Chris Mepham is a better centre-back than Liam Scales.
Yeah.
Right? So 8 million, you just got to look around at the market you're in, right? That's fine. We can still sign the odd project. We can still have the platform that we've had. Matt O'Reilly's going to be, eventually when he goes, the next person to graduate from that. We can still have that platform. But just go and sign players, right, that are ready to come in and improve this football club. Cameron Carter-Vickers is a perfect example. Right, signing someone that's a little bit older, right, we may still make a bit of profit on him. But if you sign Chris Mepham for 8 million, I don't know what he is now, 27, 28, right? And he has 2 good years. Right? There's absolutely...
I think he's slightly younger than that, actually, Chris Mepham.
There's absolutely no reason why you can't make your money back on him if that's the platform that you want. There's no reason why a championship club, wouldn't look up north and say, we'll take him for 8 million or we'll take him for 10 million. If that's the platform, but what it does do is it fixes the centre-back problem for 2 years. And it gives you time, if you want to go and find that youngster that's going to slot in, to go and do that. To be opening up on Flag Day, and literally the only player that will change will be Casper Schmeichel. You can already predict the team now. But Alistair Johnson, he'll be back as long as he's, obviously back and fit enough and played enough from the Copa America, which I think he will. Cameron Carter-Vickers, if he's fit. Liam Scales, Taylor, McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly, if they're still here. And then it'll be a front three of Maeda, Kyogo and Kuhn. You already know the team.
Yeah. And then you've got Lewis Palmer for rotation, and by all means, like you said, Mikey Johnson.
Even if we go and get Ida and Bernardo, right? We're paying. Say we get Ida for they're rumoring £10 million, which we should never be paying in a million.
No, definitely not.
Say we go and get him for 6 million and Bernardo for 3.5. That just means we've spent 9.5 million to stand still.
Yeah.
Okay, look, it won a double.
Improvements, they're definitely not.
No. We've won a double and they're a year on in their development and blah, blah, blah. But there are areas of the squad screaming for improvement, and they have been screaming since last summer, and we didn't fucking fix it. There has to be a change. They have to realise this is a football club and not a business.
Yeah, no,
right?
Absolutely.
And to neglect the football club, right, will ultimately harm the business. Right? And that should be, the methodology. If you hamper the football club, it will hamper the business.
Yeah.
Right? If you give us that dross across the city, right, if you give them a fighting chance this season because you don't go and spend on the players, right, there will be serious repercussions because you did it this season and got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, there will be serious ramifications. There will be serious people turning on you because you just didn't go and back the manager. Brendan Rodgers left last time, and okay, look, we all had our question marks, and there was a lot of ill feeling towards the way that Brendan left. But ultimately, one of the reasons he's left because he wasn't given what he was promised. There's absolutely no way he's come back to Celtic, right, and not been promised money to spend and the players to bring in to improve this football club.
Yeah.
And again, he's not getting it. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, I don't care if you're in the Green Brigade, the boys, you're the most die-hard guy, you've been gang for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. Nobody can begrudge Brendan Rodgers, right? If we don't sign the players in this week, for him saying, I was lied to, I'm not doing this, I'm walking out on the club. Yeah. Nobody could. And okay, look, we're all passionate fans and we love the club and it would hurt us, but no one could begrudge him doing it because you've got fucking wankers up in the board, right, that are flat out liars.
Yeah, no, like you said, I mean, honestly, right now, it's kind of creating a U-turn on fans' perspectives over Brendan Rodgers at the moment. You know, when he first left to go to Leicester. I mean, has Brendan come out in recent times expressing these concerns as well?
Yeah, he said he wanted to add to the squad. So he's made it clear that he wants improvements. And there's still nothing. There's these mumblings. Now Celtic normally do their business pretty efficiently, and not, we wouldn't necessarily hear about it in the media. Really, before it was in its finalised stages, we're pretty good at doing that as a club. But I mean, there's the way that he left. Right, Brendan Rodgers will forever hold this grey area of whether or not you can really trust this guy because he snuck out the back door in the middle of the night and drove himself to Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that was the big thing, right? That's how he left. But looking back on where we could have gone with that team, right, and what we should have done, and the investment that should have been put in, we're dealing with the same fucking clans. Peter Lorre left the club and then snuck his way back in like a fucking bad cold.
Yeah.
And he's now back in a position where he's controlling finance. The guy is a penny pinching prick, right? That cares more about his underheated fucking driveway than he does his football club, right? His son Mark Laurel had to leave the scouting network because his son was shit at his job. His dad shit at his job, and I imagine everyone in the Laurel family's dog shit at their jobs, right? He should be nowhere near this football club.
Yeah.
Now, when Nicholson was given the free reins and Andrew was in, we were making signings, we were doing business quickly, pop, 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 it was done.
And that's what I was going to bring up to you as well, because when Andrew was at the helm, he got his transfer business done very quickly, and I don't know if that was because Nicholson was at the reins and maybe there was probably not as much investment as there would be
But
right now.
he's tarnishing his name as well by letting this prick do what he does on a consistent basis. Now, Peter Lorre should not be involved in any way, shape, or form in the transfer. He should set a budget, right? And then the scouting department and the director of football or whoever oversees that and the manager should then deal with signing players. Peter Lorre should have absolutely no part in it. He should say, right, we've adjusted, this is how much money you have. So you have £20 million, right? Go and do with it what you will. Right, the scouting team gets together, the recruitment team gets together, and the manager says, right, I want this, I want a left back, I want a striker, I want a centre mid, and I want a centre half. Boff, away they go, and then they come back, right, this is who we found, and then the manager goes, right, I want that guy, right, we go out and we attempt to sign him. Mm-hmm. Peter Lorre shouldn't be involved. He should set, right, this is how much the club can spend, and be financially strong. He shouldn't be involved in anything other than that. Just stay out of it. We don't want to hear your name. The best CEOs in world football, we don't hear about them. Right? They just run their football club. They let people do their jobs. They trust people.
They do everything right.
we don't fucking hear about them. I don't want to hear Peter Lorre's name. I don't want to hear it. No. I want to hear about Brendan Rodgers. I want to hear about the scouting team. I want to hear about the recruitment team. I want to hear about the people, the positions that we're looking to strengthening. And then I don't want to hear 27 rumours either. I want to hear about when the guy lands in Glasgow and when we're completing the fucking medical. Just get it done. The fact we go in to Kilmarnock in less than a week's time and we will field basically the same team, bar Schmeichel, and that's because Joe Hart retired. Don't think we would have done any fucking business if Joe Hart had stayed at the football club. Yeah. That's with two signings of a youngster keeper that will play a few cup games, I imagine, with Casper because Joe retired, and the rest of the team's the same. Unforgivable. And again, we're leaving that door ajar for these pricks to come and fucking challenge us when they are utter dog shit. Yeah. They're getting beat by Man United's under fucking 12s. Yeah. And we're leaving the door ajar. Right? All that we had to do is go and make 3 or 4 marquee signings and move us on, and they would have started fucking frothing at the mouth, having to play at Hampden, can't get into their own stadium, can't order the right still, fuck all money to spend, and we were across the way spending £8 million on a centre-back. You'd have fucking killed their morale before they walked into Hampden. But instead we fuck about penny pinch. In this market, in this day and age, £8 million, that's as cheap as you're going to get. Yeah. And look what happened when we spend around that kind of money. When we're around the 6 to 9 million bracket, we get Jota, we get Cameron Carter-Vickers, we get fucking Odsonne Edouard. Don't spend the money, man.
This is it, and it almost feels like the recent pre-season results are going to prove to be contradictory. Where Peter Laurel was going, well, hang on, we've just gone and beaten Chelsea and Man City
That's
in pre-season. Do
exactly
you know what I mean?
exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
The checkbook is getting deeper and deeper in the pocket because we've beaten City's under 12s, and then we've beaten a Chelsea team that was dog shit in the Premiership and missing 5 starters anyway, missing Cole Palmer, missing Caicedo, missing Nicholas Jackson. You know, the list goes, missing Cucurella. You know, the list goes on.
Yeah.
So yes, look, these results on paper, fantastic, and we played well in the games. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We weren't beating any full strength teams there. And pre-season, it doesn't really fucking matter.
No, of course it doesn't.
But do you think Man City are panicking because they lost 4-3 to us? Of course they're fucking not.
Nah.
So let's not get on cloud nine. I mean, it's nice to laugh, isn't it? Because all those Premier League fans are saying, "Oh, our youth team would beat you." Clearly not.
Evidently not. No.
But let's be honest. Like, it doesn't mark up for the season. People are trying to get fitness and run-outs, and we go into the Sunday in a good spot in terms of morale within the team, I would imagine. But to be running out with the same problems, be running out with Liam Scout centre back, man, it's unforgivable.
Yeah. No, I can feel your frustrations. You know, when it comes down to having a shit fucking chairperson at your club. But I mean, is there really any silver linings that you could possibly take from this pre-season going into the season opener on Sunday?
Yeah, we've played well. Casper looks like a decent bit of business from what we've seen from him, so that's nice. We've got the fullback Anderson, the youngster that looks probably like our biggest prospect again. So Celtic again, can we get him signed down on a long-term contract so he doesn't get snapped up by fucking Liverpool and plays 3 senior games for him, Ben Doak. But
oh god, have you seen recently about Ben Doak and wanting to move on from Liverpool to get first team football?
Oh,
yeah,
shocking, isn't it?
Yeah,
shocking. No one could have predicted that, Ben. But you pick up your paycheck. Well done to you, mate. away you go on loan to fucking Huddersfield, mate. Play in the Championship. I mean, if you'd have stayed here, you'd have been playing in the Champions League next year, or in a couple of weeks. But away you go, have a full season in the Championship, but you were paid well for it. But we just let too many of these situations happen. I mean, look at the youngster. Is it Daniel Frame? No, it's not. It's not Frame. Daniel Kelly. Again, a real prospect, someone that's really highly thought of at the club, being moves away because we can't agree a contract deal. What the fuck is going on? Now, how does the next conveyor belt of players come through? A Callum McGregor, a James Forrest, a Kieran Tierney, if we can't keep these boys past the age of 19? Because there seems to be no clear pathway to the first team. So it's a real struggle at the moment, and the quietness on the transfer front is a bit unnerving. Hopefully that sort of opens up and we get some stuff done. I can't say I'm overly optimistic because we've seen this pattern play out before. We see it last season, and then we had to scramble in January to bring in a few loans. And
absolutely, no, it's just a massive, hope now that Celtic can get some business done prior to next Sunday. I mean, it does seem somewhat realistic bringing 1, maybe 2 names in, but of course, the rumour
I think Bernardo
any favours.
I think Bernardo might be the one. We were hearing that was in advanced talks and being close to being done. So, I'm hearing. Well, hopefully, we get a "here we go" from Fabrizio. But I imagine that might be the one. But we're still fucking about with Adamida. I mean, I said I'm hearing noise of £10 million. Norwich are quoting on him. If that's what they're quoting on him, then move on. Why are we fucking about? Why are we debating paying £10 million for Adamida? Why? If we're going to spend £10 million on a centre forward, then let's go
This
go
is a
buy.
guy that's playing second, third fiddle at Norwich. Just to
Yeah,
remind.
let's go fucking buy someone that's worth £10 million fucking pound.
Yeah. No.
Like, and Adamida can grow into that player, but he's not a £10 million player now.
No.
And we've offered 4.5, which I think is quite fair. They've said no. It's all right. So maybe go back with 6, but 6 has got to be the top. Now, he's not an Odsonne Edouard level player. This guy, we can't be paying around that for Adamida. So if he's not available for a fair price, then it's a real shame. We would have loved to see him come back up. He had a great half of the season when he was with us. Scored obviously that goal in the cup final, which will live on. But if he's not available, he's not available. Like, why are we fucking wasting time?
Yeah. I can't sort of wrap my head around this whole bigger picture situation as to how you have managed to flip so many players on throughout the years, but just doesn't. I mean, they haven't reinvested one bit. They really haven't reinvested into those sales. The likes of Jota and Tierney, and if we go further back, the likes of Forster, Van Dijk, Wanyama. It's just never been the case, and it doesn't make sense to me. It obviously doesn't make sense to you and much of the Celtic faithful. And yeah, no, it's definitely worrying times, because I really thought that being able to attract that sort of money for these players that have gone on to bigger and somewhat better things, some of them, and it was the perfect platform for Celtic to really take the next steps, as improving the squad and improving the stature of the club once again.
What did Leeds sign Joe Rodon for? Left-sided centre back, was flying in the Championship, obviously on loan from Spurs. What's he signed for?
I think he was part of the deal that took Archie Gray to Spurs. I think he was part of the deal, so it must have been. I mean, if we're talking about player value, it must have been around 5 to 10 million, roughly.
Right. If that's honestly what Tottenham valued him at, and you're willing to, it would be probably not like £10 million is. There's no Peter Laura would fucking cry for 3 years.
Oh yeah,
but if he's between that 5 and 10 bracket, why would you not go and ask a question? Do you want to play Championship football, or do you want to come play Champions League football?
Yeah, absolutely.
And fair enough. But again, you come up here for 2 years, you perform, right? You won't have to worry about promotion with Leeds, right? You'll pick up a few trophies, so you have silverware. So when your career finishes, you're not looking back on playoff exits with Leeds United, right? You have silverware, and then you'll get your move, right? You'll get your move to Crystal Palace. You'll get your move to you'll get your Premier League move if you come up here and perform. Right? The pathway's there. The Van Dijk is there. The Tierney's there. The Wanyama's there. The Forster's there. The names go on. Right? The pathway is there. The proof's there.
Yeah,
that will happen if you come up and perform, and we're not even entering those conversations. Now, Joe Rodon may have wanted to go to Leeds. Leeds is a massive football club, with a great fan base and a great support, and he may feel that he's got unfinished business there. He felt settled there, whatever. But to not go and enter yourself in that conversation is just
absolutely no. I completely agree,
and you're talking to Tottenham, right? Remember who the fuck is in control at Tottenham.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
But I imagine Peter's scared to pick the phone up to him, because how much did you lie to him? Prick. Anyway, I'm done with moaning about this fucking bastard.
Turns out we had a lot to talk about after all.
Let's segue swiftly on. Hopefully by next Monday we've won 7-0 and I'm eating my words, because all of our players have amazingly grown into fucking superstars over the pre-season. But let's segue across.
We can. I mean, honestly, I'd like us to sit here next week on the grand premiere of season 4, knowing that Celtic managed to bring 2 or 3 through the door. I mean, that's the ideal outcome we would both love.
Yeah, the only people coming through the door at Celtic Park will be the 60,000 faithful. That's it, mate. I absolutely guarantee you, and especially off the back of that US tour, 100%.
Yeah.
Peter Lorrell's checkbook's gone back in the drawer. He's fucking locked it.
Yeah.
We beat Man City and Chelsea.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fucking lock Peter Lorrell in a cupboard and don't let him out. Someone needs to kidnap that bastard and hide him.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we find that gang that took Jay Slater?
Ayub and Rocky.
You know what it is? It's because we were talking about Cam in the start.
Oh, fuck, you know.
Moving on. Anyway, fucking hell. Yeah, let's segue on. Let's go on to some lighter news, and that is surprisingly in the form of Cardiff City. Though we've recently just returned from our pre-season tour out in Austria, which was very positive, I must say. We had, of course, we beat the dirty Hamburg scum by 3-0. We then followed that up with a 1-1 draw against Hertha Berlin, which, of course, was going to be, again, going to playing these sides like Hertha Berlin, who have recently been in the top flight of German football, it was a good result to take, thanks to, again, Callum Robinson getting on the score sheet. Another good clinical finish from him. He looks really, really sharp. And again, I hope this isn't contradictory to us bringing in a new striker, because we've been crying out for that since Kiefer Moore left, really. We have agreed a loan fee, and there is a medical booked in for, funny enough, a Hertha Berlin player by the name of Wilfried Kanga. From what I've read about him, he's a winger who can be deployed as a striker. So again, it does really kind of scream Yaku Mate vibes, where is he going to be one of those individuals where we don't know what his best position is? Quite a similar build and physique, but again, looking at his ability, looks to be a good piece of business, I hope. He was out on loan at Standard Liège last season and managed to score 12 goals and 30 odd appearances. By all means, it'll be a different challenge for him, and like I said, I hope he does come in and takes the championship by storm. But by all means, it's one of those where very in the dark about what kind of player he is and what effect he can have for us going forward. Alex,
surely at the moment that is Robbo's shirt. Surely, if he, I've watched over the highlights, obviously very briefly for Cardiff, but like you said, he looks sharp, and if him and Bullet have managed to kind of, I can only imagine that there was a falling out in and around the fact that Robbo wasn't playing, and he's looking at Mate and going, "You realise how dog shit he is, Gaffer?" And Bullet going, "Yeah, I'm going to play him anyway, though." He said, "But no, you realise how shit he is, right?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, but I'm going to play him anyway." Or something along those lines, maybe a little bit more.
Well, I think the straw broke the camel's back last January when we had that FA Cup tie against Sheffield Wednesday and shipped 5 goals to them at Hillsborough. And Callum, honestly, it was like playing with 10 men, even with Robbo on the field. He just looked an absolute ghost on that field.
Yeah.
And, like I said, like completely non-existent. Didn't really want to prove to himself and everyone else around him that he knows how good he can be at the top of his game. But again, this is what we've seen in pre-season. Like when he does knuckle down and he does work hard and wants to cement his place down in the starting 11, this is what he can do, and we've seen it over the years. Like when he's been on the books at West Brom and Sheffield United, like this guy can score goals when he wants to. And so, realistically, going forward, I would like it to be, just to ship Yaku Mate out of that fucking team, for Christ's sake, please. With, someone like Kanga, Robbo, and Isaac Davis going forward as a front three.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, like this is what I'm thinking. Coming up to the championship opener in 2 weeks' time, like that's what I've got in my mind at the moment. But by all means, there's still 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, some serious options as well. Like we said, O'Dowda, Willock. Obviously, you were very excited about
Willock as
him
well,
coming
yeah.
in. Look, Bowler. Look, we know what you can do. We will see his debut season. No, not debut season, but we see his debut season in the Championship for Blackpool, and
He's back
what
at
could.
Forest now. We only had him on loan.
Oh, did you not have him permanently?
No, we didn't have him permanently, and I'm quite
Oh,
glad.
no.
I'm quite glad that we didn't have him permanently because again, just a completely different player in a Cardiff shirt compared to how he played for Blackpool. And yeah, I think even if we had the possibility of bringing him in permanently, I'm pretty sure a good 80% of the Cardiff fan base would have told him to fucking drop him off in Nottingham and don't fucking bring him back. Just leave him there.
I think from where you're at right now,
Even the guy fucking walks backwards.
I think from the business that's going on, it seems like you're moving in the right direction. Like we mentioned last time about Chambers coming in, which looks like a good business. I think possibly the best business you may do is if you manage to handcuff Perry and G to a railing in Cardiff and don't let him leave.
I'd lock him in my closet. 100%. I don't think Maroon would complain either.
might be some trip from Stockholm to Cardiff, but yeah, it's that age-old thing, and sometimes the best business it gets sold to football fans as well as if it's really good. But sometimes, honestly, when you're building in a promotion campaign, or if that's what you're aiming for, sometimes it is about not allowing those people that have developed and put you where you are, allowing them to leave. And if you're rejecting the sort of bids that you are for McGuinness, and you've got to be thinking it'd have to be a very, very good offer to let Perry and G leave.
No, absolutely. Again, you hit the nail on the head there. And it does seem like that we've actually grown a fucking pair and have said to ourselves, no, we're not going to be taking it for mugs as we have done in the past, where I felt we sold Kiefer Moore for a lot less than what I thought he was worth. Off the top of my head, I didn't agree with the sale of Callum Patterson to a Championship rival for, again, a 6-figure sum. And this guy was one of our cult heroes. And again, he was still quite a young player as well. I think with Kiefer Moore, age kind of played against his value perhaps, but at the same time, we can't be taken for mugs at all. And we've got some really special players at the club that we've managed to really grow and develop, in the likes of Ruben Colwill and Isaac Davis, who I do remember, I think it was either last season or the season before, where we rejected a bid from Burnley of a fee of 3-4 million for Isaac. So, I mean, if we're talking those figures towards players like Isaac Davis and Mark McGuinness, Perry and G is got to be worth probably twice, if not 3 times more that.
Does he play left back?
Does he play left back? He, again, I think he's kind of. I would say he's the equivalent of when you try and play Kieran Trippier left back, essentially.
Does he play centre back?
Play centre back. He definitely plays centre back.
Yeah, get him up the road. We give you Turnbull. Get him up the road.
Well, it depends if you. Well, I mean, ask Peter Worrell.
You can have Liam Scales if you want.
Liam Scales, fucking hell. Mate, I had to put up with Nat Phillips towards the second half of the last season.
I told you.
No.
Right?
Well, he wasn't too bad for us in the end.
Cardiff were gassed. Absolutely gassed when you were signing him. Right? Cardiff was fucking loving life. And I didn't want to go in the comments and shit all over their hopes and aspirations. But, I could have told you from a while away that when he left the club, fair enough, he may have fitted in a little bit more in your system. Celtic obviously play a really high line, and then, but he may have fitted. But ultimately, the guy's just nowhere near the levels that people pretend he is. That is a League One footballer right there.
Yeah.
Right? He is worse than Shane Duffy. And I don't think I would see that he is Shane Duffy 2.0. Like, this guy coming and look.
That's not a great comparison.
But that's honestly what it was like. This guy that was coming from the. And the only reason that I slightly had Shane Duffy in front of him is because Duffy could score goals. He scored a few headers. But the same principles were there. Defending the edge of the box and defending slightly deeper, really solid. As obviously we saw for Norwich last season when Duffy was there. But ultimately, when you're trying to play that high line and then the ball's going over your head and you're tracking back, struggles. And Matt Phillips really did struggle with that. But I mean, I think the partnership that you have is a massive upgrade. And like I said, it would have been a little bit controversial, but if that was a play, this is what I mean. This is the bafflement of supporting Glasgow Celtic. If Callum Chambers was available, right, and he was willing to drop into the Championship, the fact that we haven't even had a fucking discussion with him, right, because he improves us, right? It wouldn't have been the most glamorous of signing, right, but neither would Chris Mepham. Yeah. So the fact that we haven't even had a fucking conversation with this guy.
I mean, that was an interesting one, Chris Mepham, as well, because, I mean, he does play Premier League football right now for Bournemouth, but I still personally think that him being a Wales international, I think a move to Celtic would be quite appealing for him to actually be playing on, European nights, getting Champions League experience. I think he'd excel at a club like Celtic. 100%.
And I would imagine, right, that his new gaffer in the national team would have said some real good things.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure he would have, been speaking to maybe the likes of Joe Ledley, John Hartson. Obviously Aaron Ramsey has experienced football in Glasgow, not as successfully, but he's experienced football up there.
He was very successful. He missed a decisive penalty, which handed Frankfurt the fucking Europa League.
But he would have had Adam Matthews has obviously been up. So there is people he could have lent on. I'm sure I'm forgetting some other people that would have played, but there would have been. I'm sure once that interest had become known, and he wasn't playing a lot of football for Bournemouth. I don't know if what's the Bournemouth Iriola or
Iriola, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's promised him more game time, but it wouldn't have been the most. But again, it would have improved us. And I mean, is there much between? If Chris Mepham went to Aston Villa, where Callum Chambers, is there much between them? I don't know, if I'm being honest. And we're linked with this guy, and we didn't have a conversation with this guy, and we're happy with Liam Scowell's bad looks. It's baffling. But anyway, I've diverted back to being.
Yeah, I know. It's boiling up again. But
let's get back to updating us on the business, on the ingoings and outgoings of Cardiff City.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot more going on. I mean, thankfully, the speculation surrounding Perry Ng and Ruben Colwill have really blown cold. So far, touch wood. But no, the other individual that I brought up last week was Alex Robertson from Man City, who was on loan at Portsmouth last year, played a big part in their promotion campaign. Again, from what I've read, we remain in talks, but there's a lot of competition from a host of championship clubs. So that one, I wouldn't be surprised if that fell between the cracks for us, but I think that kind of goes to show that Errol Bullitt is really looking at quality over quantity in this window. And so, yeah.
Nice.
I'm sorry, mate.
To be honest, mate, I might take quantity over quality at this point.
To be honest, mate, honestly, it's usually the roles are reversed. Usually I'm sat here a miserable bastard.
Throw enough shit at the wall, some might stick out, I might take, and actually, we did that last year by signing all of South Korea.
Sure, I know, and that didn't.
But let me ask you this then, right? So,
okay.
Opening day, who have you got?
Home to Sunderland.
Yep. A Michael Beale victim, God bless him. God love him. give us, at the moment, lock in the people you're happy with, and in a dream world, I mean, you're £15 million on FM. What positions are you going at and looking to strengthen?
£15 million on FM in the Championship. I'll be fucking laughing, mate.
That's why I give you that budget.
Yeah, I know. 15 million. Cool crikey.
Right, so lock in first. So in net, are you locking someone in, or do you want an improvement?
I'm locking in Ethan Horvath, and I think Jack Amick is a good backup. He's consistent.
Lock in Ethan in. So right back, obviously locking in Perry and G.
Yep, and I'm literally going to be locking him in my apartment so he doesn't fucking go anywhere else. So yeah, he's definitely been locked in.
I imagine in a perfect world, locking in then McGuinness and Chambers.
Yeah. I again, that's always a tough one to really decide on, because I thought Dimi Gutas had a fantastic campaign for us last season. Overall, I do prefer McGuinness because he's a bit more robust than Gutas is. Gutas is a bit more experienced. He's not really quite a spring chicken that you'd like in a modern day centre back, but by all means, gives 110% whenever he plays. He is victim of making the odd error every now and then, but then again, what centre back isn't?
I'm being presumptuous and thinking you're playing 4 at the back.
Yeah.
Is there playing 4? That's good. You're not a shite back. Happy days.
3-4-2-1.
Scumbag. Left back. That is that's such a tough one, because I like JC, but I felt that depth was massively needed last season, especially where we loaned Bagan out to Belgium. I don't know what the situation is with Joel Bagan. I don't know if Bullett's going to want to actually give him an opportunity, because he was one of our promising players at one point. I think it was during the season we had Morrison in charge, and he chipped in with a few goals as well, and he's got a good shot on him as well. But I think I would look to improve that area, just because I feel JC isn't quite the same player since that ACL injury. Cool. So left back, what are you playing in midfield? Are you going are you playing 2 and then 1 in front, as in are you playing a 2-3-1, or are you playing a 3 in midfield?
Yeah, I think if we're thinking Errol Bullet, I think it would be 2 that hold in the midfield and then 1 in front of them. That's supporting us.
In terms of your 2 sort of midfield players, then what are you going with?
I'm gonna stick with them. I'm gonna go Rulesy and Rambo.
Or are you playing Rambo deep?
Playing Rambo deep.
Brave. Rulesy must better run for his life.
I liked him when he played a little bit deeper last season. I don't think he's. I mean, again,
can he play in a 2?
Play a whole season? He can play in a 2. He can.
You think with his legs, you think he can play with just 1 supporting him, rather than having a DM, a 6, and then an 8 to support him, and he plays a little bit further forward, or not sort of an 8/10. You think Bullett's trusting him to play as an 8 moving forward?
I think Bullet will trust to play him as a number 8. I think just thinking about, of course, being linked with Robertson, and if we do manage to pull off that deal, I would probably then move Ramsey forward because of his creativity, and Rulesy will be that midfielder that'll break up play, and then Robertson alongside him, who will go more box to box.
Okay, but for now, you're locking in Rambo and Rulesy.
Yeah.
I imagine you've done that. That's a little bit of a surprise to me, but I imagine you do that because I'm pretty confident I know who you're going to play in that 10. You have a love affair with him, and rightly so. He is one of the flair players that we've seen at Cardiff in recent history. So give me then your three attackers behind your striker. So your left wing, your number 10, and your right wing.
Okay, so left wing. I'm trying to think. Do I prefer them cutting in, or do I just like them to just sort of stick wide and put balls into the box? I'm thinking of probably going more with the cut-in method. So I think I'll go with Willock on the left, Isaac on the right, and then Ruben as number 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Robbo up top.
And you, out of them, obviously, you've locked them in. You've only said left back to improve.
Yeah.
So is that?
I'd have to improve the striker as well, because look, as much as I've been impressed with Robbo in pre-season, again, he's very victim to really dropping out of form, as we have seen him during his time at the club. And so I think just to really solidify and guarantee goals, striker is definitely a position that I would look to improve.
Fair dues. 15 million then. I'll put you on a 2-minute timer.
Oh,
give me
boy.
a left back. Give me a left back. Give me a striker.
Davis, Ipswich.
You go and Leaf Davis, not Nathan Broadhead.
Huh? Nah. I like Broadhead, but again, he was one of those that he didn't start for Ipswich last season. I think there was better in front of him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's someone that maybe fair enough. Right, so you've gone Leaf Davis.
I'm going to go with Davis left back. I mean, it's completely unrealistic because he is going to drop back down.
Yeah. So I mean, you may tank your whole budget on him. To be fair, and you're willing to do that.
That's true. Yeah. Oh God, left back's a really tough position. Really tough position. And again, I'm trying to think of every realistic possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Left backs. I feel like I just need to get Football Manager on and actually just browse through the teams.
Mm-hmm. Greg Taylor could be available.
I think I'd take Greg Taylor.
I've heard rumours that he may be talking, but I think it's very dependent on us getting in that fella from Wolves. I don't know how to say his name. I don't want to keep saying Bueno because I just think of Kinder. You know,
it's definitely Bueno now.
If you sign him, his nickname, yeah. So Greg Taylor would be a possibility, but in a perfect world, you're going to kidnap Leif Davis and unveil him to the Cardiff faithful. Fair dues. You've 40 seconds to tell me a striker that's not Nathan Broadhead.
Oh, Jesus Christ. A striker...
You can't sign him. You can't sign him, mate. Okay, now that'll be some unveiling, though. Only take 3 days to rise, pull the rock back, bang, put the 9 on him. Happy days.
Fucking hell. It feels like someone's put 50p in you since you finished off your fucking tirade at the start. And you won't be finished just yet. All right.
15 seconds.
Striker.
No panic, boys. 8 seconds.
Josh Sargent from Norwich.
And we pause it with 3 seconds to go.
That was a panic. That is like proper deadline day thinking.
Is he available? Snap him up.
Hey, Norwich didn't go up. If anything, it'd be a sideways move.
Yeah. Well, they made the playoffs, so
they did.
Apparently, they're looking to hold on to Jonathan Rowe as well, but that could be sort of safety valve because this is the last year of their parachute payments.
Yeah, and I think if a big offer comes in, and there by all means will be a lot of interest in him. Especially,
well, he always goes to Wolves on FM, so surely that's where he's going.
Mate, he went to Burnley on mine.
Dear Lord, God love him.
Had to mention Burnley on the season finale. Get in.
Burnley.
Fucking Burnley.
VK dumped him for Munich. And they brung in Potter. Attacking football all the way.
Oh, mate. Oh, the wonderful, different, dynamic world that is Football Manager. But look, how about we segue ourselves over to the Premier League? Just very briefly, Arsenal completing the signing for Calafiori. From who was it? What Italian club was he at? Roma? Bologna. He was at Roma, but no, he was at Bologna. £42 million. Honestly, doesn't feel like a lot nowadays. Was quite a standout player at the Euros as well. I mean, what would he bring to that Arsenal defence? Who, I mean, again, like we see their back line. I mean, I think by all means it will bring quality to that left side.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are, and I can only imagine that this is going to. If we had a big fan base, this would spark controversy. What I'm about to say, right? But Arsenal,
Wait until we're on TikTok, mate.
Arsenal have taken over the position that Liverpool were in a few years ago when they had Virgil van Dijk. Because really, Liverpool back then could play anyone next to Virgil, and he elevates them. William Saliba's that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
They can play anyone next to this guy, right, and he'll elevate them. Right. Gabriel struggles, I think, in most teams. I think he's a mid-table prem. I don't think he's a title challenging centre back. But what William Saliba did was elevate him. So Calafiori comes in, and again, he had a really good season at Bologna, obviously to qualify for the Champions League. And I think he's got to be looking across, feeling super secure at the fact that he's got William Saliba there. And if Arteta, pulls his finger out and stops fucking about with David Raya and put Ramsdale back in there, who's actually a better keeper, right? And understands, right, that it doesn't matter how good a fucking keeper is with their feet, because on average they're playing 5-yard passes. It doesn't matter, right, about spraying the ball and all this bollocks. On average, you're playing a 5-yard pass, right? What you need in a keeper is someone that can save the fucking ball, right, and not someone that dicks about their front post, David Raya. But
no, true story.
Having that security around him, obviously, look, Ben White was really, really good at right back for them. I think they have a slight issue at left back. There is the talk of Calafiori maybe going out there because Timber will come back into the team. Obviously, he had that horrific injury. So he had that horrific injury. So, there's the talk that he'll come back in and Calafiori will play left back. I don't know. I haven't watched Calafiori that much to be able to tell you if that's something that he could do or whether Timber goes to left back. I'm not sure. But I think Arsenal have a really strong defence. And for 40 million, yeah, it feels like good business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, like you said, they've got a very tenacious defence. Actually, you mentioned a name there in Ben White. And I don't think this is something we've actually spoken about on the pod before. What is your thoughts on Ben White refusing to play for England?
Spoiled brat mentality?
Yeah. No, I get that as well. I know it's England, but if you're getting that honour of being called up to represent your country, and you turn around and go, "Nah, you're all right." Don't quite like.
Well, look, by all means, by all reports, he doesn't actually overly enjoy football. He's just really good at it, apparently. Yeah. So maybe he enjoys that downtime in the international breaks and gets to do his own thing. But yeah, I can get it's a wee bit of a sport brat mentality because Kyle Walker's in front of him, because Trent Alexander-Arnold would be in front of him. There's arguments that Trippier would even be in front of him there. So I think he gets to be a bit pissy about that. I mean, look at the centre-back options as well. Stones is in front of him. Mark Gay is in front of him. Contz is probably in front of him now.
Yeah.
In terms of the England piece, because he hasn't played for him. So he probably looks at it and thinks, well, I don't really want to sit on the bench and do fuck all, but I still think it's a bit of a sport brat mentality that I'm just ruling myself out because, I'm not going to be picked. So, 80% sport brat mentality, 20% kind of get it because, again, he's sitting on the bench and watching.
I mean, when he first came to Arsenal and when he was performing well at Brighton, I mean, fucking Harry Maguire was getting a nod over him, and maybe that would have been the final straw for him. But I don't know. Like, when he says he doesn't enjoy football, what does he enjoy doing? Like, he sounds like the most boring individual in football today. What's he doing? Yeah. Bookbinding?
Maybe. Who knows? I mean,
he gets such a rush.
I mean, he's got the look of someone that would be proper into like making their own music.
Guy looks like a Hollister model.
Can imagine him being in the studio at home with the decks and dropping some bars.
Just see him outside Hollister in blue or with a couple of sliders on.
Could happen.
30% off, guys. Don't know why you sound like that, but yeah. More transfers.
Like that.
I don't know why he sounded like that. More transfers. Here's an interesting one. West Ham in advanced talks over Man United right back Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Again, he's a player that I feel has kind of fallen off the face of the earth in recent times. Not even recent times, probably the last whole season or two.
Yeah, it's been replaced for Elite United by Diego Dallo. Obviously playing in that position, and I think he got United's Player of the Year that season, which shows how shit United were. But I think it was always a thing that he's really good defensively, but lacks going forward. Obviously, at Palace he started as a winger, and then they moved him back. So one-on-one defensively, really strong, but not so much going forward. I really hope Aston Villa don't sign him because I just put Matty Cash in my fantasy team. So.
Oh God, I need to set that up still. Thanks for reminding.
So please, Aston Villa, don't sign him.
I mean, I don't know, because he came with so much promise from Palace once upon a time. Do you feel that he's still 27 years old roughly? Do you think he can rediscover his best form playing for someone like West Ham?
Yeah, I think. Was it West Ham? I thought it was Villa.
Villa, yeah, West Ham.
Yeah, so same colours, wrong team. Matty Cash is safe in the fantasy team. Happy days.
Yeah, place a burn, no problem.
Fucking for West Ham, I think it's more his level. I don't think it's Wan-Bissaka's fault, but I just think it's that theme that United had for years and years, where they were signing mid-table players and expecting them to play at a title challenge level. Wan-Bissaka, I just don't think he's an elite player, but I think he's a good player. Yeah. I think he's comfortably a Premier League player, but he was brought, and his ceiling was what it was, and unfortunately, that wasn't what United wanted. So no, I mean, West Ham feels like a good fit. Who went in there after Moyes? I don't even know who the fuck's gone in there.
Oh, it was the was it the ex-Spain boss, Lopetegui, that went in there?
Oh, what, the ex-Wolves one, was it?
Yeah. It was at Wolves as well, most recently.
All right. Fair enough.
That'd be an interesting job. Like, I mean, I don't particularly rate Lopetegui, and I don't know how it will. That's me personally speaking. Well, obviously he didn't do well at Real Madrid. He didn't do well for Spain. He certainly didn't do well with Wolves. So again, don't want to trigger any West Ham fans here. Except you, Liam. What up, shit dick? But no, definitely an interesting choice.
Well, I think what they had is a period of constant success under David Moyes. Mm-hmm. But then what happens is, with success, unfortunately, you expect a little bit more. You expect a brand of football, and they didn't get that. I mean, West Ham are crying out for a striker. I see him linked with that boy from that. It's obviously where I got a little bit confused, and the Dragon Soup. It's that striker from Villa.
Striker from Villa?
Yeah, they were linked with a striker from Villa. Does it begin with D?
D?
Yes, I will tell you the name right now. Right,
honestly, when you say strikers in Villa, I only think Ollie Watkins. I honestly don't know who their other strikers are.
John Duran.
Colombia. Yeah, no, that's true. I've seen that pop up a few times this week.
Yeah, I think that should be where they're focusing, because they need a striker. They can't keep fucking asking Mikel Antonio to lead the line in the Premier League.
I tell you what, I don't blame them for getting rid of that Skamaka. Watching him at the Euros, my God, what an arse player.
Yeah, he thinks he's Giroud, but he's nowhere near as good.
Do you know what I mean? You're nowhere near as sexy as he is. Yeah, you may have a few more tattoos, but honestly, mate, you are no shagger like Giroud.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka to West Ham, good business. I think most West Ham fans would be happy with it. But I think, I don't know many West Ham fans, but surely they're crying out. I mean, look at the talent that they have: Jared Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus. That as an attacking, they just need a vocal point and stick the ball in the
Yeah,
net and
absolutely.
hold on to Lucas Paqueta, because what a song he's got. You know what I mean? Brilliant.
Yeah, I
I
mean
sold my car to Lucas Paqueta.
that Mohamed Kudus stood out for me big time last year. I thought, oh, unbelievable player. Can you imagine if they did have a striker that could bag 15 to 20 goals? They
Yeah,
could do really well.
I don't know if Duran's that guy, but he's at
No,
least he's a proper striker. Antonio just isn't.
no.
He's a guy that's been morphed into that role. He doesn't have that natural instinct. You can't teach that shit. Like just being in the right position at the right time. And he's got an absolute thunderous strike on him. So if I was guiding West Ham anyway, I would say that should be your priority, getting a striker in. But Wan-Bissaka, I think, makes sense. I think it's just that Kufal that plays right back for him, getting on there. Yeah. So makes sense.
No, yeah, definitely a deal that makes sense for both parties, really, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka himself. I think it'd be a great move. I think it'd be a good opportunity. I mean, Jesse Lingard went to West Ham for 6 months and did okay he was more of a flash in the pan, but surely, that's definitely some motivation to really take on and believe that you can really become a player of your peak and, again, probably, go beyond that ceiling that we thought was once set when he was at United. Again, we're going to go back to Arsenal here. It's only because it's an Arsenal player, but a very interesting one because I know he's been highly regarded by Arsenal fans for the last few years, and to think that he's still incredibly young as well, and to let him go to Fulham here, Emile Smith-Rowe. I mean, it's an initial £27 million fee, which could potentially rise to 34. I mean, I think it was probably more the case that he just wasn't going to get the game time that was expected.
I'm surprised. One, that they've let him go.
Yeah.
And two, that he hasn't attracted interest from someone higher up than Fulham. I think it's a real coup for Fulham. Top player. I'm surprised there wasn't like a Villa or someone in for him. But yeah, good business, decent fee.
Absolutely.
I think he goes in as their record signing, Fulham, but good money.
I think it does as
long as they keep him fit, good business.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's a strange one. I mean, by all means, he's an unbelievable player on his day. Can play multiple attacking positions and can really make a difference. Like I think he could easily thrive at Fulham, and just hope that the price tag doesn't prove to way too heavy on him, and we really see the best of him.
Yeah, I don't think it will. It's not astronomical now. Signing for 27 million. So yeah, good business for Fulham, and I think as long as they keep him fit, they'll reap the rewards from that.
Absolutely. Well, it's slowly getting to that time, mate. The finale is slowly coming to a finish. But I did say, and I can just feel Maria walking about. I hope she's not letting Perry out the wardrobe. But I did come across a nice little bit of trivia the other day. And so, again, I think a lot of the honours here that this individual has won will probably give away what kind of player he is and where he comes from. But who is the only footballer to win the World Cup, Champions League, Copa America, the Ballon d'Or, Confederations Cup, and the Copa Libertadores. I can't even say that word. Libertadores.
So he's won the Copa America and the World Cup.
Yeah.
Someone that switched allegiances then. Definitely someone that switched allegiances.
You reckon?
Well, you can't win the fucking Copa America and the World Cup without swapping international teams, could you?
I don't know.
Oh, no, you could, actually. I'm thinking with the Euros. Jesus Christ.
It's still fresh in the mind, isn't it?
So what was it? Copa Libertadores, World Cup,
Yep.
Copa America,
Yep.
Champions League.
Yep.
What was the other one?
Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or.
Confederations Cup, which is a very... I mean, that's a weird competition, Confederations Cup. I never know when it takes place, but it all of a sudden just pops up on your TV in, like, fucking June, July time.
I mean, Ballon d'Or. So I feel like if I get this wrong, it's going to be extremely embarrassing.
No, it won't be. Because, like, I mean, the list of honours there. I mean, obviously the Ballon d'Or stands quite tall, and I mean, if you look back over the last 10, 15 years where Messi and Ronaldo have just dominated it.
So I'm guessing from there, it's not Messi.
It's not Messi.
So it's someone else. So going back then, it's probably a Brazilian.
Yep, he is Brazilian.
Copa America, World Cup, Copa Libertadores. So he's played in Brazil, won the Ballon d'Or. Punt at Kaka.
I knew you were going to go Kaka as well. It's not Kaka.
Well, that guess was Kaka then.
Oh. The answer was Ronaldinho.
Yeah, he was alright.
Again, you had to go a lot further back.
He was decent.
He was alright, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know what? I was going to give you a clue there, and then thought I got the player wrong in my head. Like Jim Jeffries does a joke. Ronaldo's got big teeth. That one. But yeah, Ronaldinho. Yeah, is the only footballer to win the World Cup, Champions League, Copa America, Ballon d'Or, the Confeds Cup, Copa Libertadores. I mean, he had a real wild career towards the end, didn't he? He basically just went to anywhere and everywhere in South America, didn't he?
Just started doing a pure Pentagon challenge, didn't he?
Yeah, Pentagon challenge of his own. But a special player indeed. But we're going to end it there. Mayhem, absolute privilege and a pleasure to have you for another season. Thank you for everything this year. Here's to another fantastic season, hopefully, with more shenanigans, more therapy, maybe some more listeners too, please. But yeah, we're going to end it there. Thanks again, mate. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Booth podcast, you can check us out on all audio platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Amazon. We're everywhere. You can also check us out over on YouTube. Whilst you're over there, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring that bell for notifications. And until next season, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and the star.